You're listening to the Empowering Process podcast with your host, Gail Kraft. Listen as she holds frank discussions around how your purpose, being present, and trusting your power impacts your life. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leader, or developing your vision, you'll find wisdom and insights you can utilize right now. Welcome your host, Gail Kraft.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, welcome. This is Gail Kraft from the Empowering Process podcast, and I have with me my dear friend for quite a while now, Nikki H. And yes, it's just the letter H, and there's a long story behind that. Nikki is a dancer, a performer, a choreographer, a muse, a coach. She's a Renaissance woman. She does have her degree in aerospace engineering, and yet has followed where her passion leads her. She has thrilled audience members and event guests for over 20 years as a dancer, performer, choreographer, instructor, and producer with experience in over 20 dance styles. Not afraid to be bold or embrace the unusual, this sassy bombshell is on a mission to inspire and delight as a modern-day muse and creativity coach. With her signature, encouraging, and playful attitude, which you'll get to see, Nikki has a knack for breaking down concepts step by step in a way that is both easy to follow and highly entertaining. She is a captivating speaker and MC, the creator of the Creativity Activation Masterclass, the 30-Day Creativity Boost, and an international bestseller co-author of the book One, Your Wellness Guide to Mind, Body, and Soul. Nikki is also known for her burlesque and cabaret-inspired workshop, Discover Your Inner Bombshell, which I've taken, and is the host of the dance podcast, Oh, for the Love of Dance. Nikki's work can be seen in Huffington Post, US Weekly, NBCnews.com, and so much more. Today, we're going to be talking about worthiness. Welcome, Nikki.
Hello. So excited to be here with you.
This is going to be amazing. So we've known each other for quite a while. And one of the things that really impressed me when I first met you, first of all, we met on a woody limousine going up to a winery or the vineyards to drink and dance and eat, right?
Yes.
Right. So how best to meet Nikki, right? But what impressed me is that you made a living off of what you wanted, no matter what. And in the process, still gave back. I remember that you took your burlesque gear to like, was it old age homes or something, so the ladies could dress up and just feel good about themselves. So that this whole, I'm going to make a living, I'm going to do what I want, how I want, and I'm going to still give back with whatever I can, really was amazing to me. Talk a little bit about that time and how you broke away from this path of being a serious aerospace engineer into being a burlesque dancer and so much more.
Oh, goodness. Oh, and the dress up thing was, I did some festivals and expos, and I took all my stuff with us for the people at the festival to be dressing up and taking photos, being all sassy. So I would say, how did I get into that? I would say that my body actually had a very, very strong message for me when I was not really following my heart. And I have since learned to listen to it so that doesn't happen, because it actually, the two times that has happened, it took me out completely. So I was going down these paths, whatever that was at the time, that did not align with what was in my heart. And the stuff that I did was, the things in my heart were like on the side. And then when the time came, my body was like, you're not listening. These are the things you should be doing. And the second time that happened, I for sure decided it would always be following my heart. Right. Because I did not, it was also just where the aliveness and the joy and the happiness and the peace and everything was in the following my heart and not doing the other things. And to be clear, the other things I was good at, I was very, very good at them. But it was not what brought me joy. And also, like, the thing that I did for engineering was still creative problem solving and creativity. So it's really still in there with me. It's just in a different form now.
Oh, right. Well, you can shape and mold your heart's desire into almost anything that you do,
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
You know, for me, so dancing has always been a dream of mine. At 12, I wanted to be, that's my career. And I was told no. I mean, barriers were put up. So I did not follow that. But dance was always part of my life. It had to be part of my life, right? And so now I do exactly what you do. Maybe I don't dance. I did do that for quite a while, but if I want to take off, right? I just came back from 6 weeks on the road,
Right?
right, where I got Nikki's on one coast, I'm on the other. We got to have coffee together, right?
Yay, coffee!
Yay, coffee, right? And so this ability to excuse my language, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want, right? And not from a place of anger or harshness, but, you know, love yourself and love others for having their opinions. So earlier we talked about outside stressors versus inside stressors,
right?
Right. So tell me a little bit about what we mean when we talked about that, the outside versus inside.
So we were talking about the being deserving and being worthy, and we were talking about how there is all this stuff outside of you that can contribute to whether you decide you are worthy or deserving, or if the society, let's say, or if people around you think you're deserving or worthy. So it could be the way that things are set up. It could be what people say about you. It could be things about people that people say about what you might work on, right? So I would say one of the things that can be difficult is if you do go against the grain in any way, there will likely be some kind of feedback, comments, pushback, something like that, that may not look good or feel good. But then that's from the outside, but then also there's also stuff that comes out from you on the inside when you are maybe trying a new adventure or something that you haven't done before, or something that is against the grain because it's, you know, it's a little bit unusual, which is interestingly now the thing that I am known for is that I am unusual and bold and sassy, and that's exactly the thing that makes me stand out, right? And makes me memorable. So I think the challenge for a lot of people is either or, right? It's either outside or inside, or it's both. It could be both. It could be both. Yeah.
Right.
And it could be one day and not the other day, right?
Oh my God. So we were talking about, for example, right? So you have, maybe you're not aware of an outside influence, but you're not feeling positive about a choice that you want to make. So now the decision is, am I feeling this way because it's my intuition telling me, no, this is the wrong way to go? Or am I feeling this way because I have a programming, right, from society telling me that that's bad? And so I have to figure out, where's the voice coming from, right? Is the voice really so embedded in me that I think it's me, but it's not? Right. Right. And then, you know, unraveling that, right, in order to make a choice that's congruent with really who you are. And the key is really congruent with who you are.
Yeah.
I spent some time during my trips with people I haven't seen. Some people for like 15, 16 years. I haven't seen them for so long.
Wow.
And yeah. And it was very, very interesting because after being a coach, I no longer will apologize for coaching you during a conversation. It's who I am. If you can't take it, then don't have coffee with me. Right.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so true. It just pours out of you, right?
Right.
It pours out of you.
Right.
I feel you.
Yeah. So I'm hearing things like, you know, well, you know, I don't understand why people would even do that or choose that thing. And I'm sitting there listening to this and I'm like, well, it's not something that it floats your boat, but it's floating somebody's boat. And who are you to judge that it turns them on?
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
that's why there's so many choices in the world, because there's so many people who have different desires, right? Right?
Different flavors is kind of, I was listening to somebody talk about flavors and I was like, oh, that's a really good way to describe it. Different flavors, or like different shades, right? Different,
right?
There's literally millions of colors, right?
Many people as there are in this world, that's
Right?
how many choices there are.
There we go.
Right? And that's how many perspectives there are. So so for me, we were talking about the fact that I was going to be a dancer. So I'm going to talk about outside influences, and then working on that, you know, I don't deserve, and then coming through that, right? And so I was raised, you can't, for most of my choices as a child, because my father was quite old, and so very old school and from Europe. And so it was like, you can't be a dancer because you're just going to get married and have babies. That's too hard of a career for a woman. I'm like, most dancers are women. Okay. Right. You can't take the college course because you're just going to get married and have babies, and that's a waste of money. You can't go to college because, you know, you're just going to get married. And so just getting married and having babies was programmed. And by the time I was 24, I was married. I had a 1.5-year-old daughter, and I was divorced.
Whoa.
Right. Whoa. And so my identity that was placed on me was gone. And I sat there going, well, now what the fuck do I do? Right.
Oh man. Yeah.
But it was at that point that at 25, I remember making the choice, you know, to work, to get us out of the slummy situation we're in, and be responsible for my own outcome. Mm-hmm. And I literally was in the shower going, you're an adult today. It's time to put your big girl panties on and act like one. Right? I owned a home, a brand new car, and was a manager by the time I was 28.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Right. And so that means I didn't come at it from a place of curiosity then. I came at it from a place of anger. Right. So I pushed to it. It wasn't for a couple of years, I think 2 jobs maybe later, that I sat down and started getting curious about my choices. And are they my choices? And why am I making a choice because I'm responding to a negative influence? And if I am, is it still the right choice for me?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we all have these experiences, right? What happened to you that you went, oh, yay, I got this marvelous degree, Aerospace Engineering, and, you know, I did quite well. I was at the top of my class, and I'm not doing this.
It was actually in my junior year that I realized that I would not be happy every day waking up for that work. And it had to do with let's say the environment, mostly, more than anything else. To be in a room with no windows, with gray walls, sitting in front of a computer all day, working on the same thing for 6 years, because that's the kind of thing that happens in aerospace. It's not an overnight kind of industry. So I would be on the same widget, you know, for I don't know how many years. And it did not appeal to me at that point, because I had also been doing some projects and things, and be like, this is what my future is going to look like at an actual engineering company. I had a project that I worked on as part of the assembly line, and I went there once a week for a few hours, and I couldn't handle it for those few hours. And I'm really social and very, very much a people person, and I love engineers, but there's not that kind of social aspect to engineering for the most part. It's uncommon. So when I realized that I would not be happy every day when I would not be like, woohoo, I get to go to work today. Like that's when I was like, this is not for me. I don't think I should be doing this for my work. But that didn't mean that I didn't want to finish the degree, because I mean, I was already almost done. But the one thing that I will say about it is it actually showed me what I was capable of, as far as like what my brain could do and what could be created. And I don't regret it for a second. So that's what happened to me, is I had this massive realization that the rest of my life would look like that, and I was not interested in having that. So that's how I said, okay, no aerospace engineering work for me. I'm not going to go into the industry.
And mom and dad were so supportive.
Oh, thank God my mom and dad were supportive.
Yep.
Because then what ended up happening is I actually went into the family business, because at that point I was like, I've had this plan since this is the other thing. I had this plan since I was like 14, 15 years old, that I was going to be an aerospace engineer. I was going to do my master's. I was going to work for Learjet in Long Beach, and I mean Gulfstream in Long Beach. And that was what I was going to do. So I had no idea what to do after that. I had no real direction at all, because this whole time, right? So that, what's that, 5 years ish, right? 5-6 years,
right?
With this plan coming from South Africa, going to UCSD, doing this stuff. And then I was like, there is no plan now. And what happens now? What I ended up doing though is my last year of college, actually expanding my class choices, because then I ended up doing 5 years because engineering can be rough, right? But then I ended up doing all these other things, like the things that actually were the stuff, like the passion that I had. I just never took classes in it. So I've been dancing my whole life since I was 4 years old. My mom always encouraged our creativity just as much as she encouraged us to do well in school. My siblings and I were all very studious, and we did great, and we didn't need any let's say bribing or awards or anything like that to do good in school. That's just what happened. But she also made sure that we had a lot of creativity and joy and invention, like a curiosity was fed all the time. So yeah, at the end of college, I didn't really know what I was doing. But then I hurt my back, and that is actually, I think, what really changed everything, because then I was just, for a year, just kind of with myself. So for whatever reason, I needed to go through that. And then I ended up working for the family business for a little bit, but that was also supposed to be temporary. And I ended up being there for 10 years. And then, like I said, my body was like, these things that you're doing. But it also was in relation to some of my side stuff too. Like the dancing was not about the passion and the love anymore. It was more about like, let's see how many shows we can get for my performers. Let's do all this, behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, rude awakenings in some ways, because my body just was like, nope, this is not the path, we're stopping. Yeah.
And so what did you do? I know that you left the family business. I know that you left San Diego.
I did eventually, yeah. Because I was working for the family business and had my burlesque dance company at the same time for a while. And then I was doing like part-time for the family and more on my own stuff and my own events. But again, I wasn't really following the inspiration and the passion and joy of it. So yeah, it was all really great, but then came to a grinding halt and had some things happen for like 3 or 4 years. And then I was like, you know what? I just want something different. I just want to have, the last time I had a grand adventure, let's say, it was, well, I had 2. One was coming to San Diego from South Africa, but then the other one was my burlesque dance company, which was a complete accident. It was only supposed to be one show, and then ended up with a company for 7 years. But I wanted something different, and I had this crazy idea that I want to just try something somewhere else. And I have people in Dallas that are like my family, that I love, and they love me. And I like Dallas. So I was like, I think I'm gonna go see what happens in Dallas. And I literally packed up and took care of everything in like 6 weeks, because I was like, when's the cheapest flight to Dallas? It was in March, and that was like the end of December or something ridiculous, January, something like that. So in 6 weeks or whatever it was, 5 weeks, I was on my way to Dallas. And then I just went without any plans for 6 weeks. And I really loved it. It was a really good idea. Turned out to be one of the best things I ever did.
Right.
And but that kind of thing is something that like not everybody, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of courage, a little bit of, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, I think it was yesterday, but like if change versus familiarity, right? Like, and what is actually more painful? Is it more painful to stay the same or to change? Because for some people it's scary to change. So I think that it got to the point that I couldn't do the same thing anymore the way that I was doing it. So just shook it up, right? Just shake it all up and just go.
and just go. But you had the basics of believing that, number one, you can achieve what it is that you're going to do, and that you deserve the freedom to make the choices available to you.
For sure.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
And not many people recognize that in themselves.
That's very true. Yeah.
Right.
So true.
So when I there's a saying came to my mind as you were talking. I was raised with a lot of negative quotes, and my brother used to say, people don't go see the doctor until the pain in their leg is more painful than the pain they think they're going to get when they see the doctor. Right. And so that, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
So true.
So
true.
So true. I love you, Nikki.
I love
you. And so when you think of that statement, I mean, that is true for a lot of people, that they are comfortable in the pain because it's familiar, right? Yeah. Why do battered women stay in the relationship that they're in, right? Why do people who are addicted to drugs, who know that they want to get out of it, still stay in that relationship, right? It's because it's comfortable. They know what to expect, right? They know I can control this situation till I can't control it. Right. Yeah. And then they even know what happens when they can't control it. Right. It's familiar landscape. Yeah. Stepping out of the familiar is frightening. And making change is painful. I am not going to lie to you guys. My clients do cry. Right. But it's a cry of release. Yeah. Right. It's not a cry. It's not a stabbing cry. It's a, oh my God, I can breathe cry. Yeah. It's a cleansing cry. But so many people are so afraid of letting go of whatever it is, because they don't believe that they deserve more. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. And we're all worthy. I mean, as little infants, every single one of us came out of the womb. No, that's not true, because every single one of us are conceived, right? With all of the possibilities in the universe available to us. Yeah. Right now, that starts to change as mother's emotions start to affect your development. So that's why I say in the womb, things happen in the womb. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Some influences there. Yeah. Yes. Unfortunately, it's true. And then, that's when programming starts. And then programming is so severe up until about the age of 7. And then it slows down until 9. I mean, children are an open slate. Yeah. Right. And whatever you put
little
in.
Sponges. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They're little sponges. They're little sponges. And they hear what is being said. They watch what's being done, and they mimic and believe that this is life and that this is truth. Right. Yeah. It's at the age of 6 or 7 that trauma starts to set in, because it's at that age that children start the process of discernment. right? Discernment really starts to flourish at 9, but it starts at 7. And that's when the wounds really anchor in. And so, when I do timeline work with people, I'm not surprised when I ask for, give me a number or we're talking about this pain, give me a number. They say 7.
Oh,
7. I'm like, okay, let's go. Right. And let's heal and forgive. Right. And so when we talk about being worthy and being deserving, I want to say to anyone who's listening, forget outside. That's like, we'll talk about forgiveness in some other episode, right? Let's forget them. Let's work on you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's one thing, one small thing, and I'm all about little baby steps so that they stick. One small thing that you can do to feel a little better about who you are today. For example, some people, it might be, I'm going to eat a piece of fruit. I don't eat fruit at all. I'm going to get some grapes. Or I started with blueberries. I did not eat fruit for most of my childhood. And then at about in my mid 20s or so, I started looking at, maybe you should start taking care of this body, right? And someone said, you should have so much fruit every day. I'm like, you're kidding me. Right?
You've got to be joking. Yeah.
Right? And they said, all right, start with, oatmeal in the morning, because oatmeal I can do, and take a handful of blueberries and throw them in there.
There we go.
I'm like, okay, I can do that. So what I'm saying is, can you just take a handful of blueberries and throw them in there? That's all I was asked to do. I wasn't asked to go get bananas and apples and pears, but just a handful of blueberries. And if you don't like blueberries, what kind of berry do you like? Yeah. Right? And just throw it in there. And then once I got accustomed to that, like, I don't eat oatmeal now unless I can put blueberries in there. I love blueberries in my oatmeal. Right? Right? It's a conscious choice. So what's one thing, like, Nikki, if you think of one thing, like if you were to make a commitment this week to change one thing up, to make your life a little bit, though yours is awesome, a little bit more fulfilling, a little bit more worthy, what do you think that would be?
Well, I could talk about me, but I think I would love to share what so I host creativity challenges, and I am about to be hosting a group program that is about activating creativity. And everything that I work with has to do exactly with the idea of those small little things that you can do. And one of my favorite ideas in that, no joke, is to put on a song while you're brushing your teeth and just dance around in your bathroom. Because you're brushing your teeth anyway. You're just standing there anyway. Why not put some movement and fun and delight in your life while you brush your teeth? And then also, because moving boosts your creativity, there's a connection with that too. But that is the beginning of your day. You brushing your teeth anyway, like you were saying, blueberries go into your oatmeal, right? So there's always this connection between, oatmeal equals blueberries come with the oatmeal. So rather than being like, I'm gonna find 5 minutes to have a little dance party somewhere in my day, which I totally recommend as well, by the way. When you're cooking, put on music, dance around in your kitchen, like really,
there's music on in the supermarket. I'm the one pushing the cart, dancing and singing.
That's me too.
I used to embarrass my kids. They'd be, oh no, here she goes.
Oh man, when I was in college and my ballroom dance team, that's exactly what we would do. We would be, cha-chaing and doing Lindy Hop in the refrigerator aisles and dancing around. But exactly, just something as simple as putting on a song. And my choice, so when I first started the creativity challenge, it was to get back into my own creativity. And the thing that I decided to do was, it was actually like, the thing was a commitment to move every day, is what one of the prompts was. And I decided to do merengue. I put on a merengue song while I brushed my teeth, which is how this all came to be. And merengue, you get a really great ab workout from. So that was a bonus. I also instead of doing 100 crunches, I just did merengue. So, but then it can stick because you brush your teeth every day anyway.
Right.
So just attach it to, attach this thing or whatever it is that you're trying to do to something that you already do.
Right.
And I guarantee you it will change your life to dance around while you're brushing your teeth in the morning or at night, because you do it twice a day. So you may as well do it in the night too.
You
Why
can
not?
do it both times, right?
Why not? Why not?
I love it. I love it. I think I just might start doing that myself. Because I'm always looking for joy in my days. And one of the things that I did a couple of years ago, and we talked about this, was 75 hard. And
yes. Oh my goodness. Right.
Yeah.
So great that you did that.
Oh my God. And I did it. But the lesson from that, the multifaceted lesson from that really is about making a commitment that you can actually stick to. Now, I talked about not doing it, right? With the gentleman he was like having a bunch of people, let's do it together. We can support each other and cheer each other on. And I said that, I need to think about it, because I don't make a commitment unless I can commit to my commitment, right? And I don't want to start this thing and not finish it through. And so it's a big chunk, and I have to have a conversation with me as to, how serious are you with doing this, right? And so yeah, so it's a big thing, and I did it, and yay, I'm glad I did it. It gives me some credibility. But it also, for me, was a huge lesson in how much my subconscious tries to trick me up every single day. Every single, Nikki doesn't wake up this awesome, right? She wakes up with a mindset of like, do I have to do this today? Oh crap, what did I say I was going to get done? And then switching the perspective, right?
Yeah.
Choosing to switch the perspective. And it's so easy to give in.
I think, it totally is easy. And I think that maybe one of the keys is to look at why you chose to do the commitment, right? Because I think it's so easy to just be like, oh, I don't feel like it, because there's, inertia or whatever is going on, or you've done a bunch of stuff that day. But to actually revisit why you chose to do it in the first place, and why is it actually important to you. And I think that I've been thinking a lot about this kind of stuff, beginning of the year, shifting some things, and just being like, well, really looking at, these are the things I say I want. This is who I want to be. Now, if I truly want that, then what is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to let go of? And that kind of fits into that, right? Like if I chose this for myself, it's because I want it for myself, for my life every day, or for who I want to become, or for the things that I want to achieve. And revisiting that when it gets hard, when you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to try it. I mean, round of applause for you for doing 75 hard. I would have been like, no, thank you. I'm not even remotely interested in that.
Well, we deserve the work it takes, right? I deserve
good point.
The outcome. I deserve the focus. I deserve to create the person that I want to be, or create the life that I want to live, or create the friends I want to have, or create the spouse I want to be with.
Yeah.
Right. And yes, we do create. We create what it is that we're looking for, and then hold space for it to come in. Right. And I'm going to get unwoo-woo. Okay.
Do it.
Because otherwise I'm going to go woo-woo, and people
this
like,
is so funny,
is over.
I'm like woo and engineering in one.
Right. I know. We can do them both.
Right.
So,
totally.
So when I say you bring them in, you don't bring them in. They've been there all along. It really is an exercise. It's called hakala, which is a Hawaiian word, and it's an exercise about focus. And if you practice that, I have clients do that. You guys can do that. Pick a spot on the wall and focus on that spot. Really focus on that spot on the wall. And then notice your peripheral vision, because you're focusing on the spot on the wall. Keep your focus on the spot of the wall and open up your vision. Keep your focus on the spot of the wall and open up your vision. Do that a couple of times a day if you can, but at least once a day, right? What ends up happening is you end up with 365 degree or 360 degree focus. And I'll give you a story in a moment to prove that this is true. Right? This also opens up your mind, not just your eyeballs, but your mind. And so the things that you are not aware of that are going on in your life peripherally, now you see. And you might go, oh, what is that? Oh, you've been there. Like when I talk to Mark about you, right? He's like, we're in the same community. What do you mean we haven't met?
Right? Oh my goodness.
She wants the same things as me. What do you mean we haven't met?
Oh my goodness, right? Yeah.
It's just, you probably have passed each other, who knows?
Yeah.
It's just because your peripheral vision hasn't been open. So I used to crew for many motivational speakers. And this particular exercise is done during an NLP training. All right, because we're talking about opening up our own awareness. And so here I am, I'm crewing. I've been doing this exercise for, a couple of years now. And I sit down, we do the exercise. The exercise following that is a 3-person test. So I sit on a chair and someone sits across from me. The person behind me is doing thumb up, straight, or down. The person in front of me, the exercise says, let's say we're going to use earth, dirt, ground, sky, moon, back to the clouds, dirt, right? So they're going to give me words that are going up or down on the category they pick.
Yeah.
The person behind me is moving their thumb and I'm going thumbs up, down, sideways. And the person in front of me hasn't said a word. Right? And they're like, how do you know? Because I could feel what was going on.
Yeah. Man,
that's
so
what
good.
happens.
So
right?
Good.
Yes.
So good.
Yes. So, opening up your peripheral. But I, at that time, was so sure of where I wanted to go and knew I deserved every juicy bite of my life. And I call my life delicious, right?
Yes.
Right? And I deserve to bite into the peach and have it be juicy and flavorful. I deserve, just like the next person, I deserve whatever it is. And I don't want what you have. And I love your success and I love where you're going, right? Whoever the other person is.
Yeah.
There's no jealousy or envy or desire for their thing, because I'm so clear of who I am and what I want, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I'm just, I have nothing but coaches this year. I have nothing but coaches coming on my podcast, and people go, but you're a coach. So, and right. There's we're different personalities. We, coach a little bit differently, right? We all work on the same thing. I don't care what they tell you, call it whatever you want. We're going to work on you. Right.
Yeah.
But it's, let's talk about, you deserve your clients. I deserve my clients, and we deserve to have a conversation about different perspectives and our different techniques. Right.
So true.
Yeah. And if I know, and guys, this is where I love my clients to get to. If I know who I am so much that I can support who you are, that's what it's all about.
It's so exactly what it's all about.
Right? I mean, when we were having coffee, I'm like, oh, Nikki, let me introduce you. Nikki, let me introduce you. Right? Or I could have sat and go, well, that's interesting. She would really, do well with this person, but I'm not going to tell her about why. It's just insane. And I've been known to introduce people. I was at a networking event and a woman came up and we were chit-chatting, and she recently left her job and she was really in limbo. Now, in the past, I would have taken that client, but it's really not who my avatar is.
Yeah.
And there's a gentleman who walked by who's also a coach, and went, oh, let me introduce you to Lee. Lee, this is the perfect client for you. Right? Because that's what he was working on. That was his avatar, right? Right. So you want the matches. I want people to be successful, right? Right.
Yeah.
So what are some of so you do some coaching and a lot of dance instruction. And I'll tell you a little bit about my perspective on dance instruction, and then you can tell me about how you go about it differently.
Let's do that. Oh my God, this is going to be so exciting.
I know.
So exciting.
As a beginner, guys, if you're just dancing for fun, you're going to get all of the encouragement in the world. Dancers, if you want to compete, you can forget the encouragement you're going to get. That sucked. You screwed up there. You should be better there. Bend your knees, straighten your head. Right. And I can remember, and a tango teacher, and I was doing Argentine tango for fun, came up and was like straightening up my neck because it wasn't straight enough. I'm like, give me a freaking break. I'm not competing in this. Right.
Oh my goodness.
So talk about some of your experiences and how you actually help your students. And you do this in coaching too. Tap into the worthiness that they have in there.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This is like one of my favorite things to talk about. So let's talk about the dancing thing first. I am not a regular dance teacher by any means.
Nope.
I do not teach classes each week. I do not do choreography each week. That is not something I do. What I do is I teach by request, actually. It's when somebody wants to work with me in whatever form that takes. But the thing that I work on very particularly in a very stealthy way is, let's just say, the idea of giving yourself permission to enjoy yourself. That's probably number one out of all of it. So to let go of whatever is going on with you outside of, wherever it is, because now I teach online, right? So it could just be leaving whatever it is that you have going on in your life, like at the door of the room that you're in. Or if you're in a dance studio, you can leave it at the door, right? So that you come into it with no expectation, no worry. No, you could have some, depending on, like what you have some internal stuff, but the idea is to not let that cloud the time that you have. And I work the same way with creativity as well, because I'm not like teaching or training specifically about a particular medium. So if you come and learn from me, or you do any of my challenges or my masterclass, it's not to do with we're going to paint, or we're going to do this, or we're going to draw. It has nothing to do with that. It really has to do with this idea of tapping into your own, let's just say, magnificence, right? Your own ability to just explore and be curious and have adventure. And that is what I work with on the creativity side and on the dance side. And then if there's something specific you want to work on, so some of the time dancers will come to me because they want to be more confident on stage, for example, or like develop more of a like personality, character kind of situation, which burlesque is really great for. But you still have to really nurture yourself. Like, that's the thing. So you were talking about teachers who like yell at you, and like that is totally unnecessary. There is no, you can't, like, there are people that do that. I actually quit a team one time because the coach was like that. Literally, I gave up another, like, flamenco dancing because I was doing all the stuff at the same time. And to be on this team, I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to choose one thing to let go of. So I chose not to do my flamenco dancing at the time. But he would say, you guys suck, right? Like, that would be the thing that he would lead with. And I'm like, I don't need to be here. I don't need to have this crap. I don't care how good you are and how good everybody thinks this team is. I'm not interested in this. P.S. It completely fell apart a few months after that, because not sustainable. But you don't need to have that. It doesn't have to be that way. And people themselves push that on themselves a lot as well. It doesn't only come from a teacher or from the outside. So when I'm working with the creative prompts and the creativity challenges, for example, it's a similar flavor, because it's about letting go of what it's going to look like, letting go of what the results are, and actually just being inside that moment of the creating or in the dancing, and being inside of that moment where you are like super, super present, right? You just have all your like all your like cells are on fire tingling because you're in this moment experiencing this thing, and you have no, we were talking about expectations earlier, you have no expectation as to what it's going to look like, and you have no expectation of so, the thing that's so sad is that people forget that they're sometimes they're beginners in a lot of
Right.
things that you're trying, right? If you're new to dancing, or even if you are, let's say you're an advanced dancer or you're a professional dancer, there's still stuff to learn. There's still things to dig into. There's still moments that you're going to feel like you have no idea what you're doing. Like, this is so unfamiliar. I don't know what's happening. I should be better than this. There's a lot of that going on.
Oh my God, yes.
So to just, have that, like, that curiosity, and this is what one of the things that I talk about in, so I have foundations of my creativity coaching is basically the idea of weaving creativity into your life every day, so that you are always feeding that well of creativity, so that it's never a point in your life where it will be dry, because you're always feeding it. So it's always there for you to tap into, always at your fingertips. And in doing that, the idea, like I said, the foundations of that is to embrace and encourage creativity every day in your life. So seeing it as a way to experience and enjoy and have this like sense of wonder, right? Like if you're going to go see like the Niagara Falls or something, like that kind of wonder should be the kind of thing, not should be, right? Like invite that into whatever it is that you're doing, because then you will get the magic of it too, right? Like you'll actually
Magic of it, yes.
you get the magic of it, and you will not have this dragging feeling, or this drag you down of like it's not perfect, or it's not. This is a lot of the problem too, right? Is that it needs to look a certain way, it has to be perfect, it has to be Instagram worthy, I need to be able to blah 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 blah. So I actually encourage epic failure, is what I'm like. Make it a spectacular failure, and how big of a failure can you make it?
So before I started podcasting, so I am a preparer. Sorry,
That's how you gotta do it sometimes.
That's right. But I started with Facebook Lives, and I would literally get up in the morning, and whatever the universe popped in my brain that day was what I was going to talk about. I had no plans, and sometimes out of bed to the computer and turned it on. Bedhead and everything.
Yes, I love it.
Right?
I love it.
I looked awful. But the whole point was, as bad as that is, I always got, I love your message, Gail. You need better lighting. Love your message, comb your hair. I love you, right? But I always got, love your message, you need a better mic. I love your message. But the point was the message. And that's, okay, you got the message. All right, I distracted you a little bit with the lighting. I'll fix the lighting. Oh, I distracted you because my hair is a mess. I'll fix the hair, right? Because that's a distraction. But really, I don't care how I look. I don't have makeup on. What you see is what you get. Maybe I've colored my hair. Maybe I didn't. Too bad. Sometimes I have roots, right? Yeah. Because you're going to see the person that you will get if you coach with me. You're going to see the person you will get if we go out for coffee. You're going to see the person that you're going to get. Right? That's what this medium is all about for me. Right? And that's why these conversations, guys, we don't rehearse or practice.
No, not at all. Yeah.
It's like, hey, Nikki, what do you want to talk about? Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. Right? Because it's a conversation of two friends sitting together having water. Sorry,
I
it's water.
know, right?
Okay,
It's so funny. Water in my mug as
well.
Right.
It's really funny. Yes, every once in a while, you need to flush out the coffee with some water or wine.
You're almost making me cry with that.
Good. But anyway, Nikki and I are actually going to do a few of these podcasts. So you'll see her through the year. This one is coming out really soon, and this is all about, you are worthy, you have it in there. You deserve what you want. You deserve your dream. You deserve to feel happy. You deserve, magnificence in your life. You deserve the joy. You deserve to bite into that deliciousness.
Oh my gosh. So, you deserve the magic, and you just deserve, it's freedom as well.
Oh my God, the freedom. And I can't express it. You have to feel it, right? That ability to breathe on a different dimension. It's a different level, right? It is a weight that you don't even know is there. And when it's gone, you literally lose 20 pounds.
Yep.
Right? You literally, your shoulders are back, you stand up straight, and without any exercise, it just happens because you're proud of who you are and you're happy with the choices that you're making. Yeah. So Nikki, if people want to get in touch with you and know a little bit more about your book, about your classes, about about you and what you do, what can they do? How can they get in touch with you?
So I absolutely love people to get in touch with me if they have any questions anytime. The book, actually, if you would like I give away the chapter for free. I wrote the chapter in the book. It's about mind, body, creativity connection, and also how to boost creativity. And I talk about the principles in there. And if you go to is.gd/heck-yes, that's how you can get the chapter if you subscribe to my list. And if you look for Find Your Delight everywhere, I am on social media with that. And if you want to find me on Facebook, just look for just Nikki H. And I'm on Linktree, is where you can get all my website information. So Linktree.
And we'll have all of this
/ Find Your Delight. But yeah. And then if you're interested in the challenge or the Creativity Activation Masterclass, just let me know and I will get you info on that. But yeah, that's how to get hold of me.
And you hold your masterclass more than once a year, right?
Yes, it's going to be twice a year, maybe 3. We're going to see. We'll see how it goes. And I'll also be hosting 2 virtual creativity retreats this year as well. Yeah.
Well, good luck. Well, thank you, everybody. And this is Gail Kraft from the Empowering Process Podcast. If this resonated with you, let us know. Like it, subscribe, share. If you know someone who maybe could learn from this. This has been such a joy. Again, bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Empowering Process Podcast. Be sure to visit Gail at gailkraft.com to learn more about how she serves thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and goal seekers. And remember, if you like this broadcast, be sure to share and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.